Welcome back to the studio of Wild Treasures of an Outdoorsman. My name is Peter Updike. We celebrate the hunting, fishing, outdoor lifestyle here at Wild Treasures, and I want to welcome you to another segment. We're just going to talk about a little bit about scouting and preparing throughout the summer, what the ins and outs are for Florida public land hunting. I got the idea that if somebody had a YouTube channel that talked about hunting in my area, Central Florida, South Florida, up in the Panhandle, maybe in Georgia, and other adventures that individual might go on, that I would probably follow that guy. And I searched YouTube, and I never found anybody that was talking about Florida WMAs, deer hunting in Florida, turkey hunting in Florida. Yeah, there's guys making hunting videos, but they're not really sharing any useful information. So I thought, you know what, I got a little YouTube channel going, and I wrote this book, Wild Treasures of an Outdoorsman. Why don't I just start putting out some videos to help people navigate the ins and outs of public land hunting in general? And that's what I've done, and I feel like it's been a pretty good success. I really enjoy doing it. I love all the feedback. Comment if you want to. Like and subscribe. That's what the channel is about. And I'm just a local guy, in my view, made good. And happy to bring this information to you. Now, last week we talked about special opportunity hunts, and I touched a nerve with a few guys here that are new to Florida and Florida hunting. Now, let's define Florida hunting. Let's define public land hunting, and let's talk about it for just a minute, because it's a different. We were talking about pay money to hunt on special opportunity hunts, and that's a different level of hunting whenever you start paying money to do it, right? And if you're not going to pay money, in other words, you're going to buy your hunting license, you're going to buy your management area stamp, and you get legal, and I spend $100 a year to go hunting, and nowadays that's not too much money. But I hunt areas that are free to hunt outside my license. The Ocala National Forest, the Green Swamp, and Richloom, and all of these places. Man, I love to roam in them. And people ask me, well, where do you go hunting around here? And people ask me, where do I live? And I always say, well, I live just a little bit south of the Ocala National Forest and a little bit north of the Green Swamp. And they kind of look at me like, if you were to say, well, I live a little bit north of Disney World or Orlando, or in a little bit south of Gainesville and Ocala, well, then it might. I'm surprised at the people that don't realize the wonderful resources we have here in Central Florida, places to go hunting and fishing, and they don't take advantage of it. That's okay. They don't have to. I'm just glad that I have it and that you have it, and we can go out and we can enjoy those places. But it comes with a price, and that price is a level of difficulty that you may not have experienced elsewhere whenever somebody moves to Florida, maybe because of their work or their life has directed them to Central Florida and their family's here maybe, and they've moved here. Anyway, they want to go hunting. They hunted maybe someplace else in the country, but they've never hunted in Florida before. What can you expect? And I kind of have come to the reality and the realization that there are different categories of hunting. I've been deer hunting on private land in Florida, where I could literally kill a legal buck every time I went. I didn't do that, but I could have. And I've hunted in Florida for turkeys where I heard a gobble every time and had a chance to kill a bird every time. I've hunted on private land in Georgia where I kill a 15-inch 8-point with 2 or 3 hunts. I've hunted in Georgia where all I did was walk out on the field before daylight, call one time, and kill a gobbler. That's just the way it is. That is what I would call the pinnacle of enjoyable, we'll call it easy for lack of a better way to say it. Some people are offended at that. But in my view, that's what I would call easy hunting, where people get the confusion between hard hunting and easy hunting. that private land in other places, in my view, if you can go out on a field and kill a bird first time, you've entered into a different realm of hunting. And it can't be anything but easy. And you come down to Florida and you hunt public land for turkeys, well, you're going to know the definition of hard. I don't like the term or the idea that it's bad. Everywhere I go, public land in Florida, turkey hunting or deer hunting, if I did not see any tracks, if I did not see any deer rubs on the big old cypress trees or cedar trees, or if I didn't see scrapes where deer were marking their territory, if I didn't hear gobbles and see birds on my way in and out, I would be inclined to think that the hunting in that place was bad, because there's no sign to indicate that. Well, you got to learn to get back to reading sign, because whenever I go out and I go hiking someplace or exploring, right? And that's what we're going to be getting into, because we're going to talk about scouting here in just a minute. That if I see rubs and I see scrapes, I see food sources, I see trails, I see evidence of wildlife, but I don't see the wildlife, well, that's falling into the category of harder hunting. It's becoming more and more difficult as the dynamic changes. The dynamic being what I experienced in Georgia, and then come here in Florida. Yeah, there's people that see 10, 15 deer every time they go out. I'd be lucky to see 10 or 15 deer the whole season, right? Much less a legal buck. That's what makes legal bucks so hard to find. When you finally do see one, it's very hard. When I say a legal buck, anything that has 3 points or better on one side, or a 10-inch main beam, that's a pretty small little deer. That deer could be a year and a half old, hasn't even had a chance to grow, and somebody shoots it because they haven't seen a deer in so long, because the hunting in Florida is so hard. Yeah, that's just the way it is. So Mr. Hughes here has asked a question, and he wants to know a little bit about Florida hunting. I'm going to field that question. He wants to know what should be his process for scouting public land. And yeah, I kind of touched on it just then, that he wants to know how should he move forward. He's not harvested an animal here yet, and you're not alone. A lot of people don't kill deer. We're talking about nocturnal deer. They spend their whole lives switched on. Okay, they just don't step out into the open. They don't make themselves available for viewing. I am hunting that deer that loves the darkness, that loves thick cover. I'm hunting that deer that doesn't come out of the swamp very readily. And yeah, I'm waiting for him to slip up, because he can't resist the temptation to go check the status of that doe. And yeah, that's really what I'm doing. Or maybe he wants to check that scrape just one more time because he can't help himself. Yeah, that story has repeated itself in my life over and over and over again, but it's not been every season. I've hunted over rubs and had 8-point bucks come into those rubs, and then I fouled it up. I wasn't able to make the shot on that deer. But just because I haven't seen any deer doesn't mean they're not there. And it kind of tests the tenacity of the hunter. What are you willing to go through? So yeah, I'm a hunter, and this is where I live. These are my options: Ocala, Green Swamp, Richloom, Half Moon, Lake Pan. All of these are areas within driving ranges of my house, and this is where I'm going to hunt. So I have to adapt. I can't go to Georgia every year. I can't go out to Colorado and experience the bounty that others experience. These are the guys, sometimes you see them on TV, just go out and just shoot something. But we don't live in that world. We don't live in a realm on public land where there's food plots and feeders and shooting houses. No, we're doing it the hard way. And there's nothing wrong with the way. I've shot deer out of tripod stands overlooking a feeder. Yeah, I've done it. But it's not what I'm doing now, because it's not available for me. What is available? Public land. And yeah, I'm not going to quit hunting just because it gets hard. Yeah, the harder it is, really and truthfully, the more I like it. So yeah, I'm going to go after it. So Mr. Hughes says he's moved to Groveland. It's important to know where you live. I mean, it's important for me to know where you live when expressing how you're going to move forward on this hunting experience in Florida. So what are the management areas near Groveland? Well, the first one's pretty obvious, and that's Richloom, the Richloom Wildlife Management Area. The very north end is near Groveland, Bay Lake area, and it's important you understand the dynamic of that management area. Now, if I lived in Groveland, and it's driving distance from my home, and I've hunted it many times. I've turkey hunted it, and I've deer hunted it. I've archery hunted it, and that might be something you want to focus in on. He wants to know what his approach should be. So you can kill. Here's the first thing you need to realize that I've come to learn about public land hunting in Florida: that a mature buck can show up anywhere. There's no real secret place unless you discover it. There's no secret place that everybody else is going to, in other words. There's not something that you don't know, okay? The knowledge that you'll gain as you move forward will be put into your little hunting pack, and you will build upon those things trip after trip after trip. So, yeah, don't feel like, well, maybe I'm just hunting in the wrong place, because you're not. You're hunting in a place where there are deer. You're looking for sign, you're building upon that, and you'll make changes as you go. But there's maybe a few local secrets that somebody knows that you don't, but they're getting that information the same way you are. That's years of scouting, hunting, repeat. Scouting, hunting, repeat. If I was to hunt Richloom, I would focus on first of all, summertime scouting. What do I look for? Summertime scouting. Well, you're going to find old sign. You'll find old rubs and old scrapes. You'll see them there on the ground. You'll see them there on the trees. You won't find anything fresh and new, I don't think, during the summer. But old sign's good, right? That's habitat. That's area that's useful for a buck. And that's some information that you need to have. Also understand the dynamic of Richloom. That the dynamic of Richloom is dog hunting. They dog hunt that during the modern gun season. There'll be dog hunters everywhere except for the places that you find. So that's what I would do. I would go in during the archery season, go in during the summer, and get familiar with the area. Find the main roads that you can navigate without getting stuck. Stay off of the side roads and use the feet the good Lord gave you to navigate those hidden spots that no one can drive to, and no one can drive a bicycle to, or an ATV, or any of those, that you're going to walk in there, and that would be your spot. Find a half a dozen or so locations and get you a GPS and mark those locations. Mark the tree that you want to sit in during archery season. Archery season, you'll have the whole place to yourself, especially if you're able to go on a weekend. And I think the archery season it's later on. I think it starts in November, but the archery season goes for 30 days, I'm pretty sure. And you'll have the whole place to yourself, especially on a weekday, and find these hidden spots, sit, practice your hunting strategy, rattle a little bit, and grunt a little bit, set up on trails. Hogs, there's a reliable herd of hogs that live in the Richloom Wildlife Management Area. That's an added feature, an added bonus to your deer hunt. I used to always think that deer hunting and killing a hog was kind of like going bass fishing and catching a mudfish. I really didn't care for it, but I've changed my mind about that. It's an exciting thing to do. You arrow a 150-pound boar hog 10 yards from your stand, and he runs off through them palmettos and dies. That's a pretty exciting day. So, I don't pass up those hogs. I make it a part of my venue. And that's what I would do. I'd spend my summer driving the roads that are good roads. They've taken steps to really make those roads safe and navigable. It didn't used to be that way. It used to be all of the roads were kind of rough, especially if you had a lot of rainy weather. But now, especially if you come in off of 471, those roads are pretty good roads. And just don't venture off into the side roads, because that can be a problem. You'll get stuck. But find little areas, little pockets, and then when dog season comes, yeah, you're going to need to find those border areas that maybe they don't run dogs, or you're going to have to pack a little bit of patience and knowing that it is a dog hunt area. When it becomes regular modern gun season, it becomes, yeah, it's their tradition and their livelihood and the things that they've done. Yeah, I don't steer clear of them, but I don't participate either. I just kind of, I go, and if I run into them, it's fine. It's not a big deal. That's the approach you need to take. And find those spots maybe that they're not hitting with those hounds. I promise you, there's an 8-point in there somewhere. He mentions the Hilochi Wildlife Management Area, that he wants to apply for that. And it will take some years for you to get that quota permit, but I encourage you, if that's what you want to do. But just remember, as I've always said on other videos, that I do not hang my hat on a 3-day hunt. I'm more about the whole season. Richloom, Green Swamp. Now I would hunt Richloom. If I lived in Groveland, I would hunt Richloom during the archery season. And then when gun season came, I would move my efforts down to the Green Swamp where there were no dog hunters, okay? And you can hunt the Green Swamp in the peace and serenity of wilderness, okay? It's real wilderness. It's tough hunting. It's hard. But again, I see rubs. I see scrapes. Yeah, tracks, hogs, deer. There's a big old buck in that swamp somewhere, and you just got to hunt him. And let's see, Hilochi. I don't know how many points, how many years it'll take for you to get drawn for that. I would encourage you to also apply for some of the others. And if you don't get drawn for that one, you have, for quota permits, you have 3 methods of take: the archery, the muzzleloader, and the modern gun. And you're allowed 5 choices. So each year I save up my points until I get enough points to where I'm only going to burn up my points on one method of take on 1 year. In other words, just one quota I limit myself to 1 quota permit per year. And then whether it be archery, muzzleloader, or modern gun, I don't care. I just want to go. And I want to go every year, so that means I roll over my points every year. Right? I don't get archery and a muzzleloader that year. I'll get an archery 1 year, muzzleloader next year, modern gun next year, and by that time I've got points on the others, and so on and so on. But yeah, I don't hang my hat on quota hunts. They're great, and you may very well go in there and kill you a big old buck, and it's a great opportunity. But I focus more on being a full season hunter. That I hunt and concentrate my efforts on places I can hunt from September all the way to February, because I'm a hunter and that's what I want to do. It's this time of year I kind of get depressed. I don't want to hunt in the summertime. I want to hunt in the fall. I don't want to go hog hunting in the summertime. I don't want to go deer hunting in August. I want to go deer hunting on the first day of fall and follow through all the way through winter. And and go hunting when it's cold. That's just me. So yeah, this time of year is kind of hard, but once I get through the quota permit system and the wheels start turning and I start thinking about, getting in the woods and finding some spots, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna find some spots. I'm going to be changing up a little bit this year. I've grown weary of the long drive up to Hopkins Prairie, and I'm going to try my weekday hunts in the pipeline unit of the Ocala National Forest. It's only 30 minutes from my home, very close to my house, and that means more time in the stand. If I can find a spot where I can walk in and I won't hear any vehicles, the dogs will probably come by. I don't know if they run hot and heavy during the week anyway, maybe during the first 9 days for sure, but after that, who knows? So we're going to find out, and I'll report back and let you know. I hope this helps you, Mr. Hughes, yeah, get in that Richloom and get in that Green Swamp. figure it out. I don't know. Ocala's not too far. You might want to put Ocala on your list of places to go. And always use the brochure map to mark spots as you're scouting, and always use the Google Earth to come home and get on your computer. Hopefully you have one and you can see the aerial photos of the places that you've been and become familiar with those areas. I look for thick, dense, dark cover that no roads go through, and I don't get on human trails. I stay off the Florida Trail, and I hunt nowhere near the Florida Trail. People are walking up and down that thing, bicycle riders, horses. I stay off of horse trails, and I hunt. I get in the backwoods and I hunt, and that's the advice I have for you. Groveland's a great place to live, and yeah, there's some great hunting to be had in that area. So I wish you the very best, okay? All right, so thanks for watching. I sure do like making these videos. I hope they're a help to you, and yeah, talk to y'all soon. See ya. Bye.